who has made it 90 years, and it's quite an accomplishment. And for that reason, we have the privilege of trying to make fun of him. But in some ways, we'll see how it goes. So the first is that they've told me that I look very much like my dad.
Is that a selfie?
So we have a picture of Stuart about 40 years ago, where he's close to my age right now. And this picture was taken from a little Kodak Instamatic, scanned in on my computer, scanned in, cropped and everything. And then this picture, which is an iPhone selfie. So that's how the technology changes in 35 or 40 years. But if you think we look alike, we pretty much do. So you can see quite a bit of resemblance there. So. Okay, next up.
We're twins.
Next up. It's a different order, and I'm just sort of doing it in random order. This is my father's pride and joy. He's done ever since the store, ever since he retired from the store. He has been a master of volunteer work wherever it comes, whatever kinds of things need to be done in the community. He's a tremendous asset to the community for at least close to 30 years now. He's
Quite
been
a bit,
doing
yes,
it.
that's
And
right.
the most of the time that Stuart has done volunteer work, he has been involved in the Red Cross. The blood drives that come every couple times a month. Stuart has been a constant contributor to the goings on at the
I
different.
don't remember that. Tell them that I do not donate blood.
He doesn't donate, but he helps a lot of other
But
people.
I'm a volunteer.
And Stuart's granddaughter Jenny now is a regular blood donator.
Yay, Jen!
In the Red Cross, so that's great. Okay.
It's a very healthy thing. I hate to tell you.
All right. This one keeps coming up. My dad and I took a trip to Florida a couple of years ago, and we saw a couple of exhibition baseball games. And the last day, Dad decided that lunch had to be a particular place that is a favorite restaurant. And one of the reasons that this is a favorite restaurant is because you get your food and you don't have to give a tip.
I never liked it.
So this is the place that's called cheap.
Hey.
And let's see what we got next. All right. Some of you may know that Stuart is a huge baseball fan, but not for the Red Sox, the Yankees, or the Mets, like most of us in this area would be, but the Detroit Tigers. And the reason, which not everybody knows, is that Hank Greenberg was one of the first Jewish ball players in Major League Baseball, and he played for the Detroit Tigers.
And he was excellent.
And there's a picture of Hank Greenberg
and
the Detroit Tigers logo. And
anybody want?
How are they doing this year?
And it turned out that the first game that Dad took me to in 1968 was the Detroit Tigers against the Red Sox.
Of course, the Red Sox.
And the Red Sox happened to win that game 4-1.
Not that you remember.
Not that I probably remember every out that happened.
Well, one moment, I have to tell you this. My daughter was traveling. She ended up in Detroit, and what do you think she got me? A baseball hat with a D on it.
Okay, what do we got next? This, Sunday mornings at the store, Dad would go in very, very early, and then when I was old enough, he said, well, you can earn a little extra money by coming into the store, and I'll pay you $1.50 an hour. And I have two big jobs for you. Number one is vacuum the floor, and number two is to separate hangers.
Oh, your favorite job.
So I think I started at 75 cents an
remember
hour,
all of this?
and eventually I increased to $1.50 an hour, separating hangers and vacuuming the floor.
Yeah, and you
so
did a fine job.
And I
man.
did a wonderful job. And
No tips.
no tips.
No, we had carpeting all over, and it did need a little vacuum.
Yeah. So after a week of traipsing of all kinds of traffic, and the store was always busy.
Gee, from all the work, I think that tipping should be retroactive.
So Dad
With
had-
interest?
So Dad was not the best at sense of direction when as a driver. Unfortunately, he gave that to his son. I'm the worst at this ever. But the one incident that let's see. There was the one incident when I was driving to Mom and Dad, and I don't know if Betsy came along, driving me to New York City so that I could go to my my junior year abroad in London. And so driving to Kennedy Airport from here, and Dad managed to get lost somewhere, and my mom was like, "Oh, honey, we're in the Bronx now. Jeez, what are you gonna do?" So,
Surprised you didn't end up in New Jersey.
we could have ended up in. We did get there eventually, but the other incident of getting lost is Washington D.C. We were staying at the Sheraton, and Dad and I took the car out of the parking lot, took a wrong turn, and about 45 minutes later,
To go around the block.
We were in Maryland.
so we were in Maryland. We probably hit every major street in Washington, D.C. before we finally, and there's no cell phones, no GPSs, no any of that nonsense in 1969 or whatever, 1970, whatever year we went. So we got so lost, and I couldn't help it. Of course, that was a sign of things to come. Given that I'm not, now I'm completely dependent on GPSs. All right, this one. Dad I think just mentioned, we saw a picture of my Uncle Nettie, Nathan Shapiro, who, I think Dad would say that he taught him a lot about running a small business.
He was my literal father who taught me the business.
And there was one major lesson that needed to be learned. And that is that when you have a store, you don't take money from the register. So whatever you do, you can make all the wrong decisions in the world, but don't take money from the register.
You see that? Of course, in those days it was a ding, 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 and the $1.50 popped up.
Okay, as everybody gets becomes the movies that become their favorites are the ones that they remember from their youth, and we now have one cable station that my dad absolutely loves, and it's the Turner Classic Movies. And so what I did is I found also, now what movie is that from?
My girlfriend.
Is that Roz Russell?
Yeah.
And Cary Grant.
His Girl Friday.
That's what I said.
That's
His Girl
it.
Friday?
His Gal Friday.
That was my favorite.
That is Dad's favorite movie is His Gal Friday with Cary Grant and Rosalind Russell. And
If you never saw that, make sure you do.
And no matter where you go, wherever Dad goes, he's got to find what station on the cable system is Turner Classic Movies. And if once you find that, he's happy. All right, what do we got next? Not going in any particular order. Sunday morning we covered because Dad would go to the store, do his paperwork, and Matt
Ordering,
whatever.
Obviously
like that.
pre-computer.
Then Sunday afternoon would consist of the couch that used to live right there, and a television that would turn on the football game right there, and then go to sleep. Right off to sleep. As soon as the first quarter started, he would be asleep, and then you would turn off the TV and whoa!
What went on?
But that, yes, that would cover Sunday afternoon.
I think I recognize that person.
Then, but if little Matt wanted to go outside, Dad would offer to, he would be tired and everything, but he would still continue to catch with this monstrosity of a glove. And somehow he would manage. Is no longer with us, but Donna Goodman used to get tickets to all the best concerts in the area because she was she was a manager of box office in New Haven, and then when I went to college, she moved up to Boston just for me to
To the garden.
The very first time I wanted to go to a concert, Dad was not too thrilled about the idea, as the music that I used to listen to was called Gridgeying.
Grateful Dead.
Stop that Gridgeying! So there was a concert with a group called Bachman Turner Overdrive, which is like, gee, could I go to that concert? And he's like, there's no way you're going to that concert. All those kids are hopped up on drugs. It's not. You're gonna end up in a ditch somewhere. So this is me ending up in a ditch somewhere after I went to that.
You shouldn't be mentioning this.
Thankfully, I did manage to go to a few concerts after that.
Phew.
And deal with it. Yeah, the first one, Betsy and another friend of hers went with us to the Doobie Brothers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so that one I was allowed to go, and then eventually I was allowed to actually drive my own car too.
And then how many Grateful Dead did you see? I mean, you must have gone.
That was in
A
yeah.
dozen.
What's the picture?
So this is people,
What's the
Oh, Bachman Turner Overdrive.
Bachman Turner Overdrive. That's the group that I missed out on. So I'm
Still bumming about it.
still bumming about it. So anyway, we've had a great life. I'm thankful to have had a wonderful father for all these years, and the fact that we're all here to celebrate your 90th birthday is a great thing. So
Happy birthday!
Sophie.
Very nice. Very nice. I have a question.
Yeah.